Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Aksharadhare. I'm Devraj, and I hope you guys are learning great, handling great, earning great. Today is 12th January 2024. So, before going to start today's newspaper reading, I would request you guys to please subscribe the channel, like and comment, and share with your friends. It may super somebody to utilize the opportunities from Aksharadhare and T. So let's start reading the newspaper. The Hindu, which is very important for the point of overall development, especially education and competitive exams. This is the front page. Let's start reading the newspaper. Agnipath rolled out after consultations. Indo, Surat are cleanest cities. US against giving case materials to Gupta. Are antibiotics overprescribed in India? Recent survey by NCDC has raised questions. Dube helps India win opening T20 hype. Direct tax kitty crosses 80% of 2023 to 24 target. Net collections touched 14.7 lakh crore by January 10, a growth of 19.4% over the corresponding period of 2023. 2022 to 2023 provisional direct tax collections continue to register a steady growth. Trinamool Congress power over less full seat sharing. No more doubt about the stability of Sindhi government. NIA cracks down on nexus of terror outfits. Four villagers feared dead in Manipur's Bishnupur. Congress boycott due to malice against PM Modi. South Africa accuses Israel of genocide in Palestine, asks UN court to intervene. Anna Purani pulled from a Netflix after right-wing outrage. Taiwan full put front runner a threat to peace. Sena verdict puts to rest all doubts about stability of the Maharashtra government. Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis criticizes Shiv Sena faction for making needless accusations against the speaker. Verdict a fixed match. Will get justice in SC, says Sanjay Raut. Amid police action, Tamil Nadu governor visits Periyar University. SC extends the interim bail of Malik on medical grounds. Assure workers to go on strike over delay in salary hike. Chhattisgarh was a collective loss for Congress, says pilot. Hopes for improved show in LS pool. Mamata asks PM to officially list Bengali as classical language. Minorities' right to establish administer institutions was not to make them insula SC. Once a 44-kilometer drive, Atal Setu will reduce Mumbai commute to 20 minutes. MT comes down on ritualistic worship of leaders in power. Jnanapita literate laureate made the remark after opening 7th edition of Kerala Literature Festival along with CM Pinroy Vijayan. Delhi HC bats for true love, crashes FIR against man for eloping with minor. When the scales of justice have to be weighed, they are not always on the basis of mathematical precision or mathematical formula. CPI's PM and Congress wrangle over OIC Kerala chief's health. CPI says the court found no merit in Mamkut Tatil's claim that he was not healthy. Opposition alleges the Kerala government persuaded a GH resident medical officer to certify he was healthy. Around 65,000 candidates enrolled for Yuvanidhi scheme. Case against five for beating up women in Anagal. Kudathai case. No one more witness turns hostile. UPSC to train new team of Telangana PSC officials. HC directive to Cochin Devaswam Board to ensure plastic-free Puram celebration. Google keen on working with Telangana government, says its a VP. Google Vice President Chandrasekhar Tota with Telangana CM C. Revanth Reddy in Hyderabad on Thursday. Kolkata HC orders interim stay on FIR against area officers. Agnipath scheme was brought after consultations. Army Chief General Manoj Pandey says there is a zero tolerance for human rights violations in J&K. Says the army is taking steps to improve human and technical intelligence in the UT. He adds that the situation along border with China is stable but sensitive. Will give case material to Gupta after he appears in NY Court, US. Four fear dead in Manipur. Security forces recover huge each cache of arms and ammunition. States can also seize assets of two unlawful J&K outfits center. Charges to be framed against Senthil Balaji on January 22nd. NIA cracks down on nexus of terror outfits gangsters at 32 locations. SC questions enter on Geo mustard. Simultaneous elections wouldn't work, Mamata. Mayawati's successor reaches out to people. Malays against Modi has made Congress oppose even God. BJP reacting to the decision not to attend Ram Temple event. It says Congress tends to boycott key moments in India's history. Party spokesperson rejects the opposition party's contention that the BJP and RSS have appreciated the entire event. Different voices in Congress despite the decision on event. While it attempted to de-link its politics from faith, the party's flip-flops on the issue do not allow such a strict separation. Ensure a spotless election, ECEC tells state poll officials. HC dismisses OPS's appeal against order restraining use of AIADMK symbol. Maharashtra speakers ruling a false Kapil Sibil. Tamils living in 58 countries take part in World Tamil Diaspora Day feat. Minister Udhayanidhi thanked Tamils living in other countries for their warm reception during the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin visits. Mandavi Achilles lock hands over urea prices. Former JNK CM Mehbooba survives a terrible car accident. Surat Hindu cleanest cities, Maharashtra top state list. With Visakhapatnam, Bhopal, Vijayawada, Delhi, Tirupati, Hyderabad figure among top 10 clean cities. President calls for elimination of manuals to establish our true identity as a sensitive society. Indian History Congress calls for protecting Delhi Mosque. Parliament's budget session likely from January 31 to February 9. No tolerance policy on sexual abuse, Odisha government. Crimes in Delhi railway stations rise by 105% in 2 years, says RTI reply. Two minor Mahadalit girls raped in Bihar, one dead. Police had to identify culprits. Too bad. Entrepreneurship are turning the tide against antimicrobial resistance. Microbes are everywhere from the farthest corners of the earth to the inner workings of our own bodies, reminding us that we are as much microbial as we are human. While many microbes play a positive role, there are those that have learned to defy the medicines we are rely on. Minister notifies revised rules to ensure quality of medicines. For India, where such infections are a growing concern, the timely availability of these is critical. They show great promise and should be fast tracked for use, bypassing the usual requirement for local data. The Indian Parliament, a promise burned. Let's read this editorial page written by the co-author. The relative distance from the din and dust that the lamentable turn Indian Parliament took in December 2023 gives us a vantage point to review the state of this foundational institution of public life of the most populous country in the world today. It was one of the gravest security lapses the House has witnessed in its history when two young men with gas canisters jumped onto the floor of the Lok Sabha from its gallery and spread pandemonium. Therefore, reasons little known so far. The incident led to a stand up between the opposition and the ruling party, eventually leading to the suspension of 146 members of both houses of parliament from different opposition parties. Much of the discussion on both these unprecedented events has hitherto focused on procedural and regulatory concerns. While they are important, it is also necessary to see the bearing of these events on the conception of a parliamentary government for India. Having a parliamentary government. In historical hindsight, it may be worth noting that while progressive expansion of representation under the colonial ages exposed a section of Indians to legislative processes, and some of them came under the spell of the Westminster system. The choice of the parliamentary form of government was the outcome of a closely deliberated process. There was much contestation within the Constituent Assembly as well as outside it regarding the form of government best suited for India. There were at least four stances around which the debate raged: presidential, Indian orthodoxy, Swarajist, and parliamentary. Those who argued for the presidential system adduced reasons of stability, unity of the nation, primacy of centralization, and drew heavily from the American model. Some of its apologists were also tilted truer towards religious and social majoritarianism. Those who argued for Indian orthodoxy pointed out that one of the cardinal beliefs of Indian anti-colonial movement was to establish a regime founded on Indian classical and tested institutional wisdom. Although what it all meant was never spelled out. Those who argued for the Swarajist model defended themselves by invoking Gandhi and sought a regime resting on village panchayats, enjoying maximum powers and autonomy, the higher levels being endowed with those powers lying behind the compass of the lower ranks. This debate was decisively won by those who were arguing for the parliamentary model. Those who marshaled this argument pointed out that there needs to be a decisive authority which can claim itself as the voice of the citizen community at large and being guardians of its mandate. The executive must be collectively responsive to this representative authority. If the executive loses the trust of the popularly elected house, it can no longer continue in office. While his argument is akin to the defense of parliamentary representative democracies elsewhere, there were argued additional arguments the protagonists of this opposition drew up. They pointed out that a parliamentary system marks a better space for minorities in the political arena to make their case in comparison to the presidential system and does not assume what is good for the citizen community in advance as other competing models do. The good of the citizen community is an outcome of debate and a discussion in the representative body as a whole. Second, it has better capacity to reach out to ethnic and cultural differences as they can effectively rally in the choice of the representatives. Both these arguments implied that India's representative model encompassed great doctrinal, ethnic, and cultural pluralisms. Some of them may coalesce into a common fold over time, but others may not, and new other ones may sprout forth under conditions of freedom. Those who defended the parliamentary model on this ground also pointed out it was the authentic representative of the true spirit of India. Thanks of creating an opposition. From the nature of the parliamentary system, it is obvious that such a regime can endure and be effective only if it has stable support. But it has to be questioned and challenged to ensure that it remains faithful to the common good. It is a paradoxical demand. A majority that is elected requires that it has found endorsement from the citizen community. But the reason of the system says such endorsement must be constantly and critically validated by keeping the common good in view. Although the term political party did not find a mention in the Indian constitution till the enactment of the 10th schedule, the dialectics of stable support and effective opposition could be institutionally operated only through a competitive party system. Given the command during opposition, the Congress party enjoyed the first Lok Sabha. Jawaharlal Nehru was sensitive to the absence of an effective opposition. Although when such an opposition took shape in the parliament, he was not very comfortable with it. It is also important to point out that once the opposition found its effective voice within the House, those radical voices which initially claimed that they took the root of franchise to wreck Parliament from within were largely absorbed within it. Given the paradoxical challenge that a parliamentary system threw up, the ruling party at the center as well as in states has not found it easy to face a sustained opposition and employed all subterfuges to limit its speech. But the logic of the system has constrained it to live with it. The present race state, given the centrality of parliament to India's chosen public life, its security breach is a breach inflicted on the nation as a whole. The demand of the opposition to make this issue central in parliament is therefore understandable. In this context, it was the duty of the leadership of both houses to ensure necessary assurances and explain the lapses. It did not seem that the present leadership exerted itself in that direction. On the contrary, they converted the insistent demand of the opposition, however excessive it might have been, as an affront to the working of the parliament. There are a range of parliamentary committees. The presiding officers could have taken the opposition into confidence to form a committee on security, at the least. Was the leadership of the housing kowtowing to the executive at the expense of their dignity? Dandavati mentions an incident when Jawaharlal Nehru sent a note to Speaker Mahamawalanka which read, Sir, I have some urgent work with you. Will you come to my chamber? Mahavalanka wrote on the same note, according to the accepted conventions of parliamentary life, a speaker does not go to the chamber of any executive, including that of the Prime Minister. However, if you have any work, you are welcome to my chamber. Nehru apologized and obligated. While the opposition in the present parliament is not a paragon of parliamentary virtue, it is the responsibility of the leadership of the House, including its presiding officers, that it becomes the voice of the nation. The suspension of almost the entire opposition from both the houses can hardly meet this test. It is also important to restate the principle that it is not the truth that a ruling dispensation upholds that serves its claim to rule that, but its ability to defend the cause that it pursues has the truth. This is about the parliament achieves a Bangladesh one party state and India's options. India has been joined by China and Russia in congratulating a Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on her return to power in yet another election without the participation of the principal opposition Bangladesh Nationalist Party Jamaat-e-Islami coalition. Unlike China and Russia, India is a functional democracy and will have to live with allegations of United States type double standards of democracy at home and support for autocracies abroad to suit strategic interests. With Mr. Hasina back in power for a record for fifth time, India stands assured of continuity in the excellent bilateral relationship it has with Bangladesh. As Mr. Hasina has certainly addressed this India's security and connectivity concerns unlike any other foreign leader. But she cannot turn Bangladesh into a one party state and count on Indian support as she often tends to. Issue of irregularities. The world's most populous democracy having to back a friendly government sustained by three highly controversial elections sits uneasy on India's image as a global big player, if not big power. This also explains why anti-Indian sentiments are at an all-time high in Bangladesh. India's support for an increasingly autocratic regime sustained by rigged and non-participatory elections has not gone down well, especially with the youth. 60% of the population in Bangladesh is below 25 years, who resent the massive corruption through the large scale bank defaults and the extensive money laundering. The mismanagement of economy and the abnormal price rise that tainted the Hasina government in its third term after a decade of substantial economic growth. That India's strategic partner, the United States, and its European and Asian allies are intensely critical of the Bangladesh elections. makes it doubly difficult for India to defend elections where large-scale false voting under the active watch of the uniform uninformed process has been reported to boost voter turnout. Statistics are to ensure that defeat of candidates unacceptable to the Mrs. Asina close cycles. The Bangladesh parliament now resembles an extended national council of the ruling Awami League, with the 61 independents from the party allowed to contest to boost participation, emerging as the main opposition bloc to the League's 223 elected member of parliament in a 300 member house. An advisor's long shadow. Analysts see this election as a firm step towards a one party police state. But Mrs. Asina advisor Salman Farhan Rahman started to justify the absence of opposition by referring to the Indian situation. The Indian Parliament does not have an opposition leader because of the Congress failed to get the mandatory 10% seats needed to get that. Should we call India a one party state? Or Rahman was quoted as saying, Mr. Rahman is at the heart of manly, unseemly controversies faced by the Awami League, such as stock market scams, large-scale money laundering, and bank defaults, and now electoral frauds such as use of underage children caught on camera voting by turn several times over. Is Bangladesh Export Import Company Limited, Beximo conglomerate, is synonymous with crony capitalism, eating into the vitals of a vibrant economy and its political influence on Ms. Hasina has honored him at the Hadagia being the de facto prime minister. He is also spearheading the Awami League's new Islamist agenda that operates at the political and social levels. Electoral understanding with Islamist groups such as the Hifazat-e-Islam and a push for the government's plans to create 560 model mosque come Islamic cultural centers which could supplant the vibrant syncretic and secular Bengali linguistic cultural space that paved the way for independence and sustained Bangladesh's largely secular identity. Immediately after securing her fourth consecutive term in office, Ms. Hasina described India as a trusted friend and recorded her 7 years of personal uncertainties after the 1975 military coup that left almost her entire family dead. But most pro Indian elements in the Awami League have been eliminated in three stages: nominations, full process, and then during the formation of the cabinet and parliament committees. So India's only hope of having some actual influence is to push Ms. Hasina harder to induct some pro-Indian leaders in the cabinet, subject of New Delhi's regional influence. India battling with its Western allies over Bangladesh will be at considerable diplomatic cost at a time when New Delhi needs them to keep China in check. The loss of influence both at the decision making and popular levels in Bangladesh is unacceptable and a double whammy. More so because it comes in the wake up of India's loss of influence in almost the entire neighborhood, from Nepal to the Maldives, and calls into a question Prime Minister Narendra Modi's much trumpeted neighborhood first policy. A very prominent Indian business house and its political patrons may feel happy over the lucrative power purchase agreement signed by the Sina government, but it is poor compensation for the actual loss of influence. It is time India stops putting all its eggs in the Awami League basket and takes a close look at genuinely secular platforms in the gender, minority, labor, and youth spaces where there could be potential for a party like India's Aam Aadmi Party to emerge. This could also help India avoid a dilemma that it faced in 2001 when the IB Vajpayee government had tried to establish good relations with the BNP and Jamaat coalition government. Ms. Hasina blamed India's research and analysis wing for her defeat only to regret the sport in Islamist radicalism spilling over into Indian territory. So, fairness, tableau rash rotational plan for states and union territories is an equitable one. Speaker's quote: "The power to disqualify should be in independent hands." Are antibiotics over-prescribed in India? The rate of AMR is directly proportional to steady and a strong governance, infrastructure, sanitation, poverty, access to clean drinking water, etc. Outrage into the dying of the land. Journalists are often shown the power that social media has in policy, as on policy. Text and context page. Growth in net tax collection so far this result 19.4 in percentage, 14.70 lakh crore. Number of teachers to lost their jobs in madrasas in UP 21,000. Coronavirus death toll around the world in December 10,000. Now, number of children to succumb to cold weather in Pakistan 36. Number of people killed in Gaza since the conflict broke 23,000. Very bad. Strained ties in India, Maldives relations. How did disparaging remarks on social media lead to the suspension of Maldivian ministers? What concerns did India express through diplomatic channels in response to the escalating row? Why did President Mewich insist on the withdrawal of Indian soldiers after coming to power, and how did India respond? Is WS election turning into a political battleground? How have previous non-BJP ruled states responded to the W elections in Republic Day parades? What criteria does the Ministry of Defense use to determine the alignment of W proposals with the theme? Knowingly is unveiling the imbalance in heroic narratives of Hindi mainstream cinema. Despite its global recognition, mainstream Hindi cinema often sidelines the experience of socially marginalized groups, especially Dalits. A majority of top Hindi films feature folk caste characters reflecting a hegemonic demand that neglects Dalit, Bauchan, Adivasi experiences. On January 12, 1966, the smash hit live action TV series Batman starring Adam West premiered on ABC. In honor of the Kampi show, he executed on the Cape Crusader. Earthquake rattles Afghanistan again, no casualties reported. Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania joined forces to end Black Sea mines. Ceasefire will help Russia's regrowth. Rearm sees Ukraine's Zelensky. Tanker in Gulf of Oman boarded by men in military uniforms. Maldives, China committed to greater strategic group cooperation, signed 20 MOUs. Israel strikes South Gaza as Blinken is in Egypt for talks. UK eyes its biggest nuclear power expansion in 27 years. Hasina Shwani has Bangladesh Prime Minister for fifth term. China calls Taiwan full front-runner severe dangerous days Haida port. Ecuador sees 778 prison guards. Top members are held hostage by gangs. Mandela's support for Palestine lives on with South Africa's case against Israel. South Africa's step up bringing a genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice because of its ongoing war against Gaza highlights the African nation's long held support for the Palestinian people, which can be traced back to the time of Nelson Mandela's and Sarapat. Chinese tourists rush to sneak in a peak of Taiwan. White House hopeful skip chance to it at a Trump in pre-Lova primary debate. Our times in Russian border region facing attacks from Ukraine. After securing a fifth term, questions arise on Sheikh Hasina's political hero. Infosys Q3 profit slides 7.3%, dull demand tightens outlook. Management says Q3 was affected by fall-offs and fewer working days in the global markets. Firm narrows revenue growth guidance for the full fiscal year to 1.5% to 2% due to reduced market visibility. Firms can list directly in Gift City soon. Lions, CME, 7 others to get green hydrogen soaps. UPI apps now enabled to get remittances from Singapore. TCS Q3 net grows 8.2% to 11,735 crore. Group insolvency law required says thus. Bitcoin ETFs begin trading in the US. Portfolio management services schemes had outdid Nifty 50, Nifty 500 in CY23. Investors worldwide are moving on from the recession that never was. As the world economy proves surprisingly silent, investors turn away from government bonds and big tech shares to bargain hunt for stocks in sectors hit by fears of a downturn. Some say equity investors have entered a stock because market way the macro outlook is not driving pricing. Israeli startup plans to connect Dubai, Haifa Port via land to bypass Red Sea. Mumbai gets a makeover as India binges on bridges, roads, rail trade. Presence of Kohli, Rohit will give India solidarity lineup. Asaranga spill Zimbabwe's doom. Sri Lanka wins ODI series. Nagal one match away from making Australian open main draw. Giants dethrone Juggernauts to meet quick guns in the final. Dube rises to the occasion to take India past the finish line in opener. Mukesh should have been picked for India 2 years ago. Harnula. Abhiyan Najibullah final flourish takes Afghanistan to a modest 158 after Mukesh and Akshar pick up to wickets to each to apply the brakes. Rhythm seals Olympic quota bronze in 25 meters sports pistol. Ashwini, Tanisha, and Satvik Chirag through. It all depends on former and performing consistently. Hampi. Indian women hope to ride on fans' familiarity to book Olympic ticket. Exclusion of drag Luka Gurjit will mean the side has to step up in defense. Skipper Savitha focused on the present instead of thinking far ahead. Bihari steps down as under captain. View to lead. Cricket Association of Nepal suspends Lamit Chennai. FIFA bans Sain from next three international friendlies. Tamil Nadu with some forced changes set to do battle with an upbeat Tripura. Opener Abdul Dio enters the semi-finals in Adelaide. Wrestler Aman Sehrawat claims gold at Zagreb Open. Brazil confirms Zorai Dorival Jr. as new football team coach. Sweets return bolsters Karnataka against formidable Gujarat. Mumbai City registers a win and Chennai manages a draw. Australian Open up Britney Spears for Nori. Cricket legends unite to mobilize the power of sports for a good cause. Gavaskar, Tendulkar, Yuvraj Muralidharan, was Irfan Pathan, Panis Morrison, and many more will be assembled for the One World, One Family Cup, a charity cricket match to be played 1 year Bengaluru. Australian Open and Djokovic could face Murray in third round. Swiatek begins campaign against former champion Kenny. This is the last page, guys. If you guys can read, if it is a little important. I hope this is not important. Yeah, I'm sure. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the newspaper reading and continue reading for 2 hours in a day to make you better in English communication. And also, I'm sure you will be very good in English communication if you are the beginner. If you are reading if you are beginner, if you are start reading daily 2 hours, I'm sure you'll be very good in 30 days. And keep reading each and every day. It will make you upgrade each and every information and also the tech knowledge. So if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe the channel, like and comment. If you like the video, please share it with your friends. It may useful for somebody is to utilize the opportunities from Akshar Dare and the team. So see you in the upcoming videos, guys. Have a great day. Bye bye. Take care.